Hello and welcome to another episode of Practical Color Grading. Today, we'll explore the use of black and white in video. Here are some of the topics we'll cover. How to prepare and convert color video into black and white. How to then add contrast and clarity to the results. How to apply selective color, like in the film Sin City. And how to create a look in the style of Better Call Saul's present-day scenes. Consider subscribing to our channel and pressing the bell icon so you get notified about future episodes. Color cinema first appeared over 100 years ago. Since then, technology has been constantly changing, but we can still find many examples of black and white in movies, TV shows, and on social media. It is often chosen to create a retro atmosphere. In black and white shots, color cannot distract the viewer. Scenes are given a more emotional weight. The interplay of light and shadow, bokeh, and contrast is much easier to notice without color. Each frame begins to look like a photo. Black and white can also be used to dramatically separate different scenes, characters, the past from the future, one emotion from another, and so on. But what is the role of color correction if there is no color? At first glance, it might seem that to create a good black and white image, it's enough to simply remove all color. Well, yes, in general that's what we want to do, but it's important to consider the starting colors. Look at this example. We can easily see the difference between the two sides of the screen. But once we remove color, they appear to merge together. There is no tonal contrast left. This happens because these colors have very similar luminance. We can only tell them apart because of their color contrast. And that's no longer in play in a black and white image. Increasing or decreasing the brightness will not do anything, so to introduce tonal contrast to the final black and white result, given that we've started with a color image, we need to change the actual colors in the original. We need to change their relative luminance values. This can be done in Color Finale 2 using the Shuffle tool's channel mixer. We must place Shuffle underneath the layer that removes saturation. Then we can see the result of our color manipulation in black and white. Check out our episode on layers to learn more about Color Finale's layer-based approach. The channel mixer allows us to control individual components to define new values of the red, green, and blue color channels. Now we add a bit of blue to our green channel, and then some green to the blue channel. In this way, we have increased the color contrast between the two colors, such that when the image is converted into black and white, we get the desired tonal contrast. How can this help us during color correction? Well, take this shot. There are many colors and details here. But once we desaturate it, we don't have a lot of tonality. Let's go ahead and create some contrast for the black and white version. So the first thing to do, if necessary, is to bring the original video into a video color space, then add the Shuffle tool. It's possible to quickly change colors in a clip by redirecting the red, green, and blue channels. We can create some interesting color effects or make the image appear black and white by using only one color component, green in this example. But if we use another layer for desaturation, we can use a Shuffle layer placed underneath to create contrast in just a few clicks. However, let's work on the contrast manually for more control over our final look. Let's start with 6 vectors. This tool gives us another way to modify the color contrast. It exposes the hue and luminosity controls of each of the 6 colors here. We increase the luminosity in the red as that greatly corresponds with skin tones, and here we want to avoid making the skin too dark. Now with the green we do the same thing, increasing the luminosity slightly. Blue, slightly lower. Keeping in mind to avoid extreme values, as that can bring out unwanted side effects like noise. And finally, by increasing the luminosity of yellow, we get a good amount of color contrast with 6 vectors. Next, we can go back to the Shuffle layer and work through each channel to further tune the image as needed, keeping an eye on the overall brightness level. As the final step, we can add some overall contrast using color wheels. Lower the shadows, lift the highlights, and lower the midtones just a little bit. Done. And here is the result. There's now a good amount of different shades and tones. In a black and white image, the contrast is well visible. When you want the final result to be in color, try desaturating first. Use this technique to find a perfect contrast for the clip without getting distracted by color, and even to bring it into a video color space. This approach is used by wedding videographer and photographer Riccardo Fasoli. You can watch all the parts of his masterclass on our channel. A well-placed color accent in a black and white video can make a strong impression on the viewer. This technique has been in use for a long time, but the film Sin City is especially well known for its distinctive look. Let's apply this technique on this shot. Selective color is quite straightforward. First, we need to desaturate the image. Then apply a layer mask. Select the initial color we want using an HSL mask. Invert it, and then add to the selection to grow the mask. So the outfit is easily selected, but looking closer we can see that the lips have been picked up as well. We don't want that. So to exclude them we add another mask, an ellipse, and turn on tracking so that the mask follows the movement of the mouth. And this is the result we get. There is a lot of variety in how black and white video can look. Let's match the visual style of this scene from Better Call Saul, starting with some similar winter footage. Matching the style of a black and white video is a bit easier than a color video, since we don't need to think about white balance. Most important is brightness, contrast, and the initial color contrast. Let's set up a dual viewer using Command Ctrl 6. Now we select the reference frame and go to our clip. We can also add dual lumiscopes below the viewers. We desaturate the video and apply shuffle. And start working through each channel. We pay attention to the brightness of the main characters, the snow and the sky. If we want to change the brightness of the sky, we should modify the blue, since the sky in the original clip has a bluish hue. The green channel corresponds loosely with the landscape around them, and the red channel can affect the main characters and their skin tones. Having worked through each channel and achieved the desired tonal contrast, we can go to color wheels and add to the overall contrast of the image, keeping a close eye on the waveforms. To get the most accurate result, we need to make sure that the highlights, midtones and shadows on the scope correspond as much as possible with those of the reference. Here is the result. We save the settings as a LUT and you can find it as a free download in the description. For best results, use this LUT over videos with similar lighting and camera settings. Try Color Finale 2 Pro for free with a 7-day trial, link in the description. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and consider subscribing to our channel for more videos. See you in the next one. Goodbye.